Ilia, the Matador Topuria, taking on Max Bless Holloway. The co-main event, Robert Whittaker taking on the boogeyman, Khamzat Chimaev. Also underneath that, you have Alexander Rakic taking on Magomed Ankalaev. UFC 308 is probably the hardest time I had to pick in the main event between Max Holloway versus Ilia Topuria. But guess what? This is who I'm going with. I have winning. Woo! We are back, ladies and gentlemen, and it's that time of the week. UFC 308. Final predictions. Now, I'm going to start at the very bottom with Ankalaev taking on Rakic. Now, this is a big fight. The reason why is because you have a guy in Ankalaev who is on a 10-fight win streak. He hasn't lost. He's had one loss in the UFC. And his opportunity to fight Alex Pereira if he gets past Rakic. But what do these guys do very well? Now, Magomed, he's very, very good. I feel well-rounded. He did fight for the vacant light heavyweight strap. He had an illegal knee to Johnny Walker, but then he was able to come back and TKO him. So some interesting controversy there. And then you have Rakic, who is coming into this fight hoping to steal the thunder from Ankalaev, because everybody thinks Ankalaev is a man who can dethrone. But that's why this fight is very important to watch. Who do I have winning between Magomed Ankalaev taking on Alexander Rakic? I'm going to have to go with Ankalaev. I think this man is on a tear. He's trying to get the opportunity to fight Alex Pereira, and I think that right there is enough motivation for him to put together a strategic game plan to take out Rakic. All right, boys, and we also, in final prediction, we have PrizePicks. Now, ladies and gentlemen, PrizePicks is simple, easy to use directly on your phone. All you gotta do is go to your app store, download PrizePicks, and when you do that, make sure you use my promo code MIGHTY. They have a cool promotion going on right now. All you gotta do is play $5, and then you're going to win $50 no matter what happens in the mixed martial arts fight or the NBA game, NFL game, or CSGO Valorant. You know me, they got it. So let's take a look at it right now. When I look at my phone, swipe up, go directly to PrizePicks. I'm gonna tell you what I'm liking already, okay? At the time of filming this, they got Ilia Topuria landing 85.5 significant strikes. Now, for me, I like less on that because typically Ilia Topuria is he's not a high volume guy. He's more of a guy who likes to set up a shot, get to the position he needs to land that shot. But Max Holloway is very good about avoiding shots, moving left and right, and try to keep it hard for Ilia Topuria to get to that spot and crossing the void. So I'm gonna go with less on that one. And then one of the cool things about PrizePicks, it's not just always about significant strikes. They also have fight time, and they also have takedowns. Let's go to their takedowns. They have Ilia Topuria landing 2 takedowns. He's gonna have to land 3 in order to, you know, beat the predictions that they think is going to happen. So you can either go with more or you go with less. Honestly, I'm gonna go with less with that one as well, because I think Max Holloway is going to be good about avoiding the takedown, and I think Ilia Topuria wants to make a statement and knock him out. Who knows? You're trying to make the best educated decision. They also have Khamzat landing 3 takedowns, so he's got to land 4 takedowns if you want to go with more, or you go with less, he's got to land 4. So once again, I like less on that as well. Robert Whittaker is very good about avoiding the takedown, anti-wrestling, and if Khamzat is able to get Robert Whittaker down on the ground, then you could look for him to finish him, because he took Kamaru Usman down, got the back, put it in the hooks, flattened him out, grounded and pounded him, didn't finish him, but Kamaru Usman had a hard time getting it back to the feet. But once Kamaru Usman got back to the feet, it was hard for Khamzat to get him down. Again, he was taking these long shots. And let's go ahead and look at the fight time. Now we look at the fight time. This one's interesting. I kind of like this. Khamzat, 11.5 minutes in the fight. I like more in that. I don't think it's a 5-round fight. I like more. I like to edge that a little bit better. Make sure you're locking your picks before it's too late. Now let's get back to the final predictions. Now we're gonna move on to the co-main event. Robert Whittaker, aka Bobby Knuckles, aka the Reaper, taking on Khamzat Chimaev. Now this is a very interesting fight, because I read a couple things somewhere that he said his previous camp that he was training with would not give him the opportunity to rest and get his body comfortable, back to 100%. This would lead to him in the hospital and backing out of the fight. Now, Khamzat has spot at 170. Now he's found his place at 185, which I feel this division is a lot better. His last fight was against Kamaru Usman. Kamaru Usman took that fight on short notice. And I think one of the things that Khamzat does very well is he takes a fight where he wants it, which is the grappling. He out-grappled Kamaru Usman. I felt like he could have finished him if he was able to keep his hooks in and belly down and break down Usman's base. But Usman is a phenomenal wrestler and a former world champion. Now, on the other side of it, Bobby Knuckles, a friend of the show of the Mighty Cast. Now, we've had Rob Whittaker on the Mighty Cast multiple times. The thing that makes Rob Whittaker so damn good is he's been around for a very long time. He has a very unique style, kind of karate base, goes to the right and uses that your right hand to right high kick. He's fought the best of the division when it comes to Ilia Adesanya, Drixus Duplessis. The list just goes on. He's coming off a banger win off of Ikram on short notice, and he was able to get a beautiful knockout in the very first round. He took that fight on short notice because I believe it was supposed to be Khamzat, but Khamzat backed up because he got sick. Now, the keys to victory for these gentlemen, Khamzat's got to get the fight where he wants it, which is honestly probably the ground. You know, he comes out there and shows some decent hands. There's no secret. He wants it to be the ground and have a grappling match, because I do believe he might be the bigger athlete, like taller and maybe a little bit bigger. I'm not next to these motherfuckers. I don't have a scale. I mean, obviously they're both gonna be weighing 85, but from looking at them, I feel like he might be the bigger athlete. And then two, don't gas yourself out. Each time we see Khamzat fight, he always gasses himself out, where he tends to shadow box. If you guys watch my breakdown of him versus Kamaru Usman, there's a whole round where he's just outside the void, just moving around, not really throwing any kicks, not really throwing any punches to set something up. He's just looking for the takedown. And by that, he always gasses himself out, and by blowing his load. That's what we kind of call it. 3, use the whole tool. Use mixed martial arts. Use the takedowns that you get past his guard and look to either submit or ground a pound. Force your opponent to give you what you want by exposing himself. Meaning that if you take somebody's back and they're on all four and their hands are planted, you punch their head. When they go to punch their head, they have to leave their hands and cover their head, which means they're going to break their own base and they look for the choke. Now let's look to the flip side of my man, Bobby Knuckles. Bobby Knuckles has got to do what he does best, which is be Bobby Knuckles. Go out there and mix it up on the feet, because we all know Khamzat wants to get the fight to the ground. He's done it in all his fights. You look at, he grabs his opponent to take him down. 2, also make it hard for him to get across the board. Make him second guess himself, because when he fought Kamaru Usman, he wasn't so sure how he was going to get the fight to the ground, and he ended up taking very bad shots way outside the void, where it gave Kamaru Usman the opportunity to defend the takedowns very easily. If Robert Whittaker can have Khamzat shoot far outside the void, circle around to the back and make him punish him for having a bad shot, that is a huge key to a W. And then the third thing, don't accept the position, meaning that if Khamzat gets you down to the ground, you cannot accept him being on top. You have to work your way back up to the feet, or use your grappling, create some distance, create some frames, and make him pay for taking you down, throwing some elbows, punches, whatever it may be, but get back to the feet. At the end of the day, do not accept the position. Now, who do I have winning this fight between Robert Whittaker and Khamzat? I'm going to go with Robert Whittaker. I think Robert Whittaker is on a tear right now. The reason why I'm picking Robert Whittaker is because it's a 5-round fight, right? And I feel Robert Whittaker has been in this position before, 5-round fight with the best in the world. And Khamzat has not been able to get past 5 rounds. Hell, he's had a hard time making it to the octagon just because his health and his illness. Now, let us go to the main event. Max Bless Holloway, the baddest motherfucker on the planet, taking on Ilia Topuria, one of the most dangerous guys in the featherweight division. Now, this fight is what everybody is excited to see, especially myself. I have broken down these gentlemen multiple times. Now, when we look at this fight, this is probably, my opinion, Max Holloway's most dangerous fight in his career. Reason why I say that is that when you watch Ilia Topuria fight, he doesn't fight with his hands, right? A lot of you guys are like, oh, yeah, he does. He knocks people out. You have to look at him, and he fights with his feet and his hips. He doesn't throw unless he gets in the right position to knock you out or to get to that sweet spot, right? He's always outside the void, moving with that beautiful X and Y head movement. He's always here, moving. He never takes himself out of position. When you watch the fight between him and Alex Volkanovski would throw a lot of high kicks, and he would do a simple X block. X block. He keeps his hands here, which is home. That way, when he has to X block, it's not a drastic movement where you see guys in the past who fight like this. They have to go. The hands have to come from here, my hips, all the way up. He doesn't do that. It's here, bop. That's a very big thing that he does very well, is he doesn't get out of position. Same thing with Max Holloway. Max Holloway typically doesn't get out of position. When he fought Justin Gaethje, he was almost damn near flawless. You can tell Max Holloway had a strategic game plan going against Justin Gaethje, which he will have one with Ilia Topuria. Now, Ilia Topuria says, the first 10 seconds of the fight, I'm going to point down to the canvas of the octagon to see if you're going to stand in the middle and meet me and see if you can claim that BMF title. I don't think Max should do that because, obviously you're putting yourself at a risk to get knocked out, right? And I would have to say Ilia Topuria does have the power to knock people out. He knocked out Alex Volkanovski. He's knocked out a lot of guys and he's dropped a lot of guys because he gets himself in that position, that sweet spot in the fight where he can just let his hands go. And he's willing to take a shot and give one. He puts himself in the fire. Now, the keys to victory for these gentlemen to win this fight is one. Let's go ahead and look at Ilia Topuria, the champion. Ilia Topuria, the keys to his victory is one, get yourself to that sweet spot. He does it every single fight. You go back and watch all his fights. He's always looking for that sweet spot. And once he gets there, he lets his hands go. That's the biggest key to victory for him. Two, be patient trying to get to Max Holloway, right? He's got to get across the void because Max is going to be going lateral, back and forth, making it hard for Ilia Topuria to get to that sweet spot because Max knows when Ilia gets to that sweet spot, that's where he's his most dangerous. If Ilia Topuria tries to rush to get to that sweet spot, he's going to expose himself, and that's when Max is going to be able to take advantage of him. Third, the biggest thing, don't be afraid to mix it up. A lot of people who fight Max tend to always stay on the feet, but I think it's in your DNA to get to that sweet spot and knock him out. Now let's look at the blessed one, Max Holloway. What does Max Holloway have to do in order to get his title back from the dangerous El Matador Ilia Topuria? Max has got to go lateral. He's got to be on his bike like he was against Justin Gaethje. The same game plan he used against Justin Gaethje is the same game plan I would implement against Ilia Topuria. Why? Is because Justin Gaethje, same thing. He wants to get that sweet spot where he can kick your legs and catch you with the left hook or the jab. If you keep on moving, throw your jab out there, go lateral, and don't allow Ilia Topuria to get that sweet spot. Ilia Topuria is always going to be spending so much time to try to get to that sweet spot until he's going to overexpose himself, and then you can try to take advantage of him. Two, don't be afraid to use that spinning back kick. Your creativity inside the octagon was one of the things that hurt Justin Gaethje because Ilia Topuria is going to be doing that XY movement. If you can time the XY movement and throw that spinning kick outside the void or when he comes in the void, you can potentially knock him out. Same thing that Uriah Hall hit Gegard Mousasi with in Japan, followed up with a flying knee. You can do the exact same thing. And three, just be Max Holloway. If you're going to point to the ground, I know you're going to be ready to go, brother. Just make sure when you're ready to go, you let the motherfucking hands fly. This is probably the hardest pick I've ever had to do because you have Max Bless Holloway. Big fan of him, friend of the show. Spend time with him. And you have the El Matador, Ilia Topuria. If Ilia Topuria can get to the sweet spot in the fight and let his hands go while Max is trying to let his hands go, I do believe Max Holloway will get knocked out. Now, on the flip side, if Max Holloway can keep his distance and keep Ilia Topuria guessing and having a hard time getting to him and getting across the void and get to his sweet spot, then we can see Max Holloway beating him. Now, who do I have winning in the main event? I have winning Max Holloway. I'm going with my boy. I'm a big fan of him. I've had him on the podcast multiple times. But just besides that, I believe in Max Holloway. I believe this is his time to shine. He is coming down to 145. It's going to be one of his toughest fights to beat Ilia Topuria, a guy who's undefeated, who has knockout power, who looks for that sweet spot in the fight, which is where he is his most dangerous. So, boys, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like, subscribe, and also hit the bell to go live and come back here Saturday night as we give our live instant reaction. And we will see you guys at the next video.